Oh my goodness, what do I have here, everybody? This is going to be an awesome video. I have all of my receipts from my latest build, and I told everybody months ago that it was going to be a budget build. And if you see in the bottom of my camera screen, I have Glacier, the dog, that wants to be part of the video. So I will bring her up into it for right now, but she will not be in for the remainder of the video. Stay tuned for this entire video if you not only want to get the price breakdown for my budget-friendly van build, I will also talk about ways to save on your build, what other builds, why they are priced at what they are priced at. All in this video coming up right now. Let's get started. Before the rest of the video happens and we're going to talk about pricing and breakdowns and all that good stuff, I've already done a couple videos with Bioptimizers. I wanted to get a quick minute here done with its progression so far. So I've talked a lot about the magnesium breakthrough. I started taking, first video, I didn't really take it. It just started. Second video, I featured Bioptimizers. I was like, whoa, I have gotten so much good sleep. Now I wanted to take it to another level. I stopped taking it for the past 2 weeks, which is the last time I did a video with Bioptimizers. My sleep actually declined. I didn't really expect that. I actually thought that I was like, whatever, maybe it won't, maybe it will. It was like a slow progression. By like day 4 or 5, I started to realize I was waking up several times throughout the night. And I guess I woke up a lot more groggy. This has helped me so much with just sleeping through the night comfortably. This is the powder. I haven't been doing it every day. However, exercising more because I'm trying to get rid of this, I'm trying to get rid of this, you know, it's like what we do, you know. Not to get too graphic with people, bathroom trips have been feeling a lot better. I don't know how else to put that eloquently. I feel a lot less bloated. I think this has helped, as well as the probiotic that I started taking as well has helped. So far, the products that I've been using through Bioptimizers have been fantastic. Very much so with the magnesium breakthrough, the ultimate leaky gut solution. So that really does make sense that I feel less bloated. Stay tuned for a couple more updates on the Bioptimizers in this next month. Back to pricing breakdown. Okay, everybody, I actually do not really need all of these receipts. I have a bunch of receipts here from Ace Hardware. I have a bunch of receipts here from Home Depot, and then I have plywood receipts and other just receipts from online orders and whatnot. I've already inputted all of these into a spreadsheet, which I will screen share with you during this video. Everybody is different in their style of building. Everyone is different in how they do things. So if you haven't done a van before, or if you think you know how to estimate a van build, just be wary of a few things that you are probably going to overshoot your budget. I am at $9,435, so $9,400 give or take. And that was with a miscellaneous charge of $500. Now that could be a little bit more if I added $1,000 instead of the $500. I'm still coming in at $9,800. Instead of $9,400. So I still feel like my $10,000 give or take was spot on. That number does not include the cost of the actual van itself. So let me say that again. The van is a separate cost. Okay, this is very simple. If you get a high top, these numbers can also be a little different. They can be a little bit more in materials, but not too much. The biggest expenses you're going to make in your van build are going to be power or electric, I guess, and any type of heating apparatus that you maybe wanting to use. Cooling, possibly, but I always try to advise people not to use any cooling apparatus unless they are truly in need, because it is more of a luxury item than it is a necessity. When I say I advise people, it's because I actually do consulting on the side, because I have been doing van building or in the van building industry for some time now. Over 5 years. I have a lot of friends in the industry. I might know what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I am going to now put up the entire spreadsheet that I created so you guys can see along with me and what exactly I'm talking about. Now, before I did the insulation, I went out and bought Kills, which is an oil-based mold resistant or mold protector to protect my floor. Before all that, I had to, sand and do all that stuff. So all that number, any of the stuff that you would buy at a hardware store, if you scroll to the bottom, or if you go all the way to the bottom, you will see a Home Depot Ace Hardware and a plywood that is actually in a separate 3-tier section there. The Home Depot is close to $1,000. So those are all those receipts that I had here. That's all of that added up over the, 3 months I was building. There's also a few things in here that is not part of the van build, but I figured I would add it in anyways, which are things that I needed to get my shop space going. I wanted to use nicer plywood, so I went to Mr. Plywood, which is a local lumber yard. Then we went to Havelock Wool. I believe I got a discount because I do a lot of work for them, and I have an affiliate link and I have all that stuff below. I did a video with Havelock. That's one of the reasons why I get a discount. I do not get the product for free, but I believe I put in the retail price for $360. I believe that's what it was. Havelock is great. I actually like it a lot. The freshwater tank and the gray water tank, I bought it actually off of my buddy from Nomadic Customs. The water pump I bought off Amazon. I believe it was just a C-Flow, really nice water pump. Swivel seat, I get asked about this all the time. And you also see, not only is there the cost, the part, and then there's the source from where it came from. And then I added some notes on the far side as well. The swivel seat I bought on eBay. I honestly just did a Google search on a Ford Econoline swivel seat. It is one of the most commonly asked questions to me is, where the heck do you get the swivel seat? Varies from van to van. So I just did a Google search. I found mine on eBay and I got lucky. I read the reviews and made sure it was all legit, and I paid $200 plus $50 in shipping. The Aspen Power System, it is a rebranded Blue Eddy. It's made by Light Harvest Solar. I love this power system. I have put it through the ringer. It is really tested well, phenomenally well, actually. And you know what? I just realized I didn't put something in here, what it cost, but I believe it's like $400. It was the Phoenix, which gives me the capability to charge the Aspen from the alternator, from the van battery itself while I'm driving. Is something that I forgot to put in here. My bad. The solar panel from Light Harvest Solar as well, which it was not a 400 watt Solaria, so I actually need to change that number right now. It was the 380. That was the original panel I was going to get, but it was the 380. It's a monocrystalline panel, but it's not $630. I believe that the 380 watt panel is a $400 panel. I did talk about how I was going to talk about some money saving situations. In my opinion, having an all-in-one system is the money saver. You can do, the other option you can do is have a custom kit done, whether you do it yourself or you order it from a company and you put it together yourself. Companies like Light Harvest Solar, because I'm already talking about them, you can get on the phone with them, you can break down your entire system, and you can say, I want this many batteries, I want this size inverter, I want, this size MPPT, solar charge controller, etc., and so forth and on down the list. They give you all the wires, the lug nuts, fuses or fuse breakers, all that stuff, DC-DC charge, all that good stuff. Now, that entire kit that I pretty much just rambled off in 15 seconds, that can range anywhere between $3,500 to $10,000 depending on how many batteries you get, because a good battery is going to run you between $800 to $1,100 depending on the battery and the brand. Why are some batteries better than others? It comes down to continuous discharge, it comes down to amperage, it comes down to the BMS system, how well it's built, does it have low temperature disconnect or low temperature control. So all of those things come into factors when it comes into batteries. This is not a video on specific items in the van, but I'm trying to give you guys a wide range of different factors on where your prices can be fluctuating. The battery brands that I enjoy are Light Harvest Solar brands their own. They make a really good one. Lion Battery and ReLion I've used pretty much in almost every one of my builds with the exception of this Ford Econoline. And I am now planning to do a tiny house, a completely off-grid tiny house. I am more than likely going to be using a 48-volt ReLion battery. It is a big mamma jamma, and I'm super excited about it. Having an all-in-one system, whether it's an Aspen, a Blue Eddy, a Goal Zero. Why am I spending so much time on the power? Because earlier in the video, I did say that your biggest expense is going to be the power system, plain and simple. The sink and fridge, these are estimates because I bought them way back when I did my Jeep Overland build. Now you can do a sink and a faucet and that whole 9 yards like you would have in like a house. The pneumatic fridge, the chest style fridges, they're great. I am more of a door style kind of person, but I had it from my previous Jeep build, like I said. And it was just a nice thing to kind of put into this van. Other biggest expense that a lot of people spend money on are these heaters, which is what I'm gonna go over right now. I used a planar heater, and where I bought it from was Expedition Upfitter. Expedition Upfitter is a distributor of various products, mostly camping or adventure type products. They are sister company to a company called Total Composites, which if you did a search on them, you would see that they are in the truck bed camper industry. So they know what they're talking about when it comes to certain products. And back when I had the Jeep, I actually bought their portable planar heater, and I liked it so much that I said, okay, well, that heater worked really well for my rooftop tent. Why don't I get the one that can go inside of a van? They make a couple different sizes. They make a 2 kilowatt, a 5 kilowatt, and I don't know if they make another one, but I think the one I have in mind is just the 2D, which is the 2 kilowatt. Plenty for the size of the van that I am in. That model is about $700. And then as you can see further down the list, I have a tank for it because it runs off of diesel, but I also run it off of kerosene. So I have kerosene in a 2-liter tank, I guess, not 2 liters. There's no way it's only 2 liters. It's actually closer to 2 gallons. That was like $80. And then I upgraded to the touch screen because I felt that the touch screen is just a nicer touch and it's prettier. So I went with something prettier, $190 pretty. I like fancy things. What can I say? Going back to I liking fancy things, I have the superbrightled.com. That was the website I used, and that's what it says right there for the LED strip lights as well as the 12-volt switches. Those 12-volt switches are very homey feeling. Push buttons are great. There's nothing wrong with them. I just like them more of a homey touch or homey feel to my 12-volt switches that I use. The finished flooring I got from LL Flooring. Lumber Liquidators is really what it is. Vinyl plank, $210. I have leftover. I should have sized it out a little bit better. I believe I have 2 extra boxes, so I should not have bought as much as I did. Yeah, I should probably try and return that to get some money back. Osmo sealant, by the way, one of the best sealants out there. It is an oil. And it soaks into the wood. Why I went with an Osmo is because it makes the maple just pop. The grain in the maple just pop. At this point, before I get into all the Amazon products, I do want to say this is where you are going to save money. You don't need to buy Osmo. You can buy a different poly or sealant. You don't need to buy Osmo. Osmo was, as you can see here, $54 freaking dollars. You can buy a can of, sealant, put a couple coats on it. It may not be as good as Osmo, but it still does the job. I also just mentioned maple. I will throw up some images of my van if I haven't already. I used real maple. The ceiling is a maple plywood that I bought from Mr. Plywood. You don't need to use maple. However, that being said, suggest you using a nicer wood or a hardwood for most of your building, especially your cabinetry. Birch is a really good wood that people use throughout their van builds, and you don't need to use Baltic birch, which I will get into in a second because that's what my carcasses are built out of. Birch is a great wood. Maple, again, is really good, but it's expensive. Poplar is phenomenal. You spend a little bit more money on a higher grade of wood. But I also know people that used, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but the Sandee. It's spelled Sande. It's actually a marine grade plywood. But my buddy Christian built his entire van using Sandee plywood. That plywood is fine, and it's probably like $15, $20 cheaper per sheet than like maple, birch, poplar, you know, all these other woods that are high grade and high, you know, expensive woods. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I went pretty budget on the power system and the heater, but I went high end on the wood because I like a really good finish and a really nice quality build. Again, disclaimer, I got hooked up with the HPL, which is the high pressure laminate wood. I say it right here at the bottom. I only used 2 3/4 inch sheets and 1 1/2 inch sheet. Those were all of my cabinetry. Why did I use high pressure laminate? The more layers of wood, the less creaking there is, but the heavier and more dense it is. So keep that in mind. I wanted the look of the end grain. Is painting bad? No, of course not. Is shiplap bad? No, of course not. You can do whatever your heart desires. Oh, shiplap. You can use cedar paneling for your walls. You can use cedar ceiling. You know, you can use any of these other things that you want to use. I'm just giving out different options here. I'm just also showing you what I went with. Up to you to make your own decisions on how you want to do your van build. So live your van life. As much as we all kind of hate on Amazon, we use them for all of our stuff. It's just extremely convenient, especially when building out a van. Some of my viewers may know that I have purchased a ReLion pickup truck. It is on order and I'm not getting it for a freaking year and a half, but that's okay. I'm not upset. I am a little. Probably support Amazon a little bit because they are the biggest investor in ReLion, because they are also invested in the ReLion fleet, which is the van ReLion all-electric that's eventually going to come out. This is simple stuff. Black upholstery, I used it in my van. You don't have to use black upholstery, obviously, but again, I'm just breaking down my prices. The draw slides. Draw slides are super easy to get off Amazon. I like them a lot. I just read a lot of reviews and make sure it's good. I prefer using 100-pound slides. Am I ever going to put 100 pounds in any of my drawers? No. Why do I use 100-pound draw slides? Because they are super freaking smooth when you pull them in and out, and you don't have to worry about overloading them with stuff. I guess the cost-saving way to do this is just go get draw slides out of like a Home Depot, Lowe's, or a hardware store. I just like using the ones off of Amazon because I haven't had problems with them yet. I did get a little bit higher dosage or 250-pound rated slides for the refrigerator. That's why you see the fridge draw slide is a completely different price, and it costs as much, almost as much as all my other slides, which I think there were like 8 of them in my van. Cabinet latches, I use the Camp and Go ones. Those are great. I actually like them. They are plastic, which kind of stink, but there's various different cabinet latches on the market for RVs. Again, I use the Camp and Go. Mattress was, I forget the brand name, but it was a $155 mattress. It's a 5-inch. I want to say, is it Zenith? I think it starts with a Z. Whatever that Z mattress brand was. It was a good mattress. I really liked it a lot. I've only slept on it a few times, mostly because I'm also trying to sell the van, and the listing is coming soon. Dicor. It's a lap sealant. You put it around your roof vent. I suggest using that. Other people use things like EcoFlex, but they're going to be running around the same prices. The canvas, which is the art that's behind, that's actually not this one, but that's a piece of canvas right there. However, the canvas in my van, I bought it off Amazon. I cut off the frame, and bada bing, bada boom, I got myself a cool looking headboard, I guess, which I used canvas art. The marine wire. I want to say that number is actually incorrect, but I got it off Amazon. It was $27, 14 gauge, 50 feet. I might have bought 2 of those, so you might want to double that number, so maybe $50 in wire. Thetford toilet. Simple, easy, simple setup. Not a $900 toilet like everybody likes to use, the composting style. I prefer more of a porta potty style. And you may want to think about how you're going to do number 2. I like to use the biodegradable or the camping, like, I guess, poop bags. I don't know how else to say that. But they even sell those on Amazon. I have them somewhere in my van. I have not used this toilet, again, because I'm trying to sell the van. For people that are interested in what I'm listing it for, it's going to be $35,000. The toilet I don't want to use because I want to make sure that it is available for the new owner, and it's unused toilet. The Max Air roof vent, $220. Although I believe they've gone up in price. They may be $250, $260. Butyl tape, again, I used it for the roof vent. Kill mat, I already talked about. And the plywood, I had a variation of Baltic birch, maple, birch, and I had a various of sizes. 1/4 inch were on the walls, 1/2 inch was on my ceiling, 1/2 inch maple was on my ceiling. Maple strips in my van were all bought out of Home Depot. I paid per linear foot on that bad boy. All of my drawers were made from a 1/2 inch Baltic birch. I bought 4 sheets of that a while ago, and that was in Mr. Plywood. Like I said, the carcasses were built out of 3/4 inch apple plywood or apple core plywood, and that was also with a high pressure laminate. All the faces were done with that same, but 1/2 inch. Bed section was 3/4 inch birch. I believe that's all 1 sheet back there. You want to kind of do all your measurements and find out what you can use, so you don't have to overbuy plywood. It didn't really take that much plywood. I think altogether I have most 4 sheets of 3/4 inch, 1 sheet of 1/2 inch on the cabinetry, 1 sheet, or it might have been like 1 1/4 sheet of 1/2 inch on my ceiling. Walls were all 1/4 inch, like I said, and I want to say I used 1, maybe 4 of those sheets of the 1/4 inch, and that was birch. But I think it was 4. I did talk about at the beginning of the video where I was going to talk about where these vans are coming up with their pricing. Where do these people come up with their pricing for these astronomical prices? A lot of us feel they're a lot of just overpriced vans. So let me end the video pretty much there with where these, or how to price your van out. Someone that is a first-time builder, I have a rule of thumb with this, and that rule is the 1-to-1 ratio. This is very simple. Someone that is more experienced, you're going to add numbers to this, but for the non-experienced, for me, it's easy to tell who is experienced and who isn't, but it's more of like the types of wood that they're going to be using or the type of products they're going to be using. If they haven't done a lot of deep diving and research, I can see that in their van builds. If they're just trying to flip a van, I can see that in their van build. Somebody may be using like particle board, MDF board, no bueno. I'm not really hating on this, but somebody that's using IKEA furniture, pre-made cabinetry, that is a style that some people are doing. I preferably don't like doing that because they're typically made out of the MDF board or the particle board. The thing is with those types of boards is they're more brittle. These vans that are constantly shaking and moving while we're driving them, they will deteriorate over time and they will break over time. It might not be a month, it may not be 3 months, it could be 6 months to a year. But they eventually upper cabinets can fall right down off of the walls, and I've seen it happen. So back to the 1-to-1 ratio. The 1-to-1 ratio is what you have put into the van, parts and material-wise, you double that for labor. So just some easy numbers for everybody. If your Blue Book value of your van, Blue Book value, and that's very easy to look up, let's just say it's $40,000. Boom, $40,000. Whether it's brand new or used, it doesn't matter. The Blue Book value, empty, nothing built out in it, $40,000. Inside parts, not outside, inside parts and materials cost you $40,000. Right there, that's $80,000. $80,000 with a van and what you put into it, no labor. If you are inexperienced, you should probably add roughly another $40,000 to that. The $40,000 is matching that 1-to-1 ratio to what you put into the van. So now you have a $120,000 completed package that you can sell. That formula seems to be working the best. Right now in the van life world, it's probably not best to have comps. You shouldn't be comping your build against somebody else, especially pro builders. The pro builders that have their vans listed for $250,000, you cannot build that in your first time out. Plain and simple, you cannot put a $250,000 van out there as your first, second, or even third van build. I don't care who you are. And why do I say that? Because the pro builders that are putting out these $250,000 vans, they have been doing it for quite some time, whether it's been a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. They've done anywhere between 20 to 50 to 100 van builds. Not only that, earlier I said inside components, the outside components of a van are probably some of the most expensive parts of the van. Suspension can be anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000. Tires, wheels, those can be upwards of $1,000 to $5,000 depending on what you're doing. Roof racks, expensive. Ladders, bumpers, those things add up. If you're trying to flip a van, keep in mind outside products, because you didn't build them, you just ordered them and then put them on, you cannot add too much to that labor process, or maybe make a little money on the install of those parts. Anybody can buy an owl rig Sherpa rack or an aluminous bumper and put it on themselves. They don't have to really hire you to do that. Probably an umpteen amount of videos on how to put those things on. So to make your money back on those outside components aren't really there. Professional upfitters charge for it. Yes, they do, but they also have a brand attached to it. They have their name attached to it. They have warranties. If you're trying to say that I'm going to sell this van for $250,000 and then you don't have a warranty attached to it, or you don't have a guarantee attached to it, that, in my opinion, that's not a good situation. And that's why some of these big time builders are charging what they charge. They do have those things attached to it. They do stand by their names. So the 1-to-1 ratio really does work for your new builder or startup van builder. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, Jared, your van is $10,000. I put $10,000 into it, as you just saw in this video, and I'm listing it for $35,000. Well, then why are you adding $15,000 to your labor? Well, my build quality is a lot better and way better than what is out there right now. There are people that I have talked to that say I should list my van for over $40,000, and I say you people are crazy. I hope all of you out there have learned something from this video and you can take something away from this video. Maybe the people will start pricing their vans more accordingly. I have seen some vans out there that are priced accordingly, but those are just my opinions. Take it as you may. Until next time, we have some really cool stuff planned in the future, some trips coming up, some more glacier shots, hopeful tiny home build, as well as container home build, shop build, and another van and bus soon to come. Haha. I'll see you guys next time. Later.